This is a video of the last few that were posted, and then we can not get to a class. I think I get this a little bigger. Here we go. All right. So, pieces that are one of a kind are so valuable that we're stealing. Wordy. That's my first impression is wordy. And that font is a bit hard to read with all of those thicks and thins. When a font has very thick areas and very thin areas, we call it high contrast fonts, and this is a very high contrast font. It works really good for the name of the Louvre, but for reading, anything above, anything that's smaller than that, I'm looking down here and this is unreadable to me. I really can't read that, and this is almost unreadable. If I didn't, this is like one of those things you see on Facebook that they're jumbled and you can still read them. I'm not seeing the full letter forms, right? I can barely see the horizontal strokes on any of these letters, and those are the ones that are super high contrast. So I'm going to recommend keeping the Louvre name in that very unique, very French, very stylistic font, and finding a more utilitarian font for the rest of it that is more readable. I'm wondering what you inserted into this image, because I'm not seeing anything that's been inserted that is notable, that is stopping. And the headline is just too wordy and too hard to read to be stopping if I was scrolling through something, right? If you're talking about pieces that are worth stealing, show the piece that was stolen. Maybe show that crown with all those jewels. I'm a believer in see it and say it. If you're going to say it, I ought to be seeing it, and if I'm seeing it, you ought to be saying something about it. It's just a really good way of reinforcing your message and making sure that you're staying on message and not going off message and trying to put too much in. So keep it super simple. Art worth stealing is a 3-word headline that says the same thing you're saying there. And if you showed that crown, or wait, better even yet, the crown that's missing, maybe show the empty smashed case. I don't know what's going to be more interesting. And then you need to Photoshop something into the scene, right? That's part of the assignment. So that's my feedback on that one. Let's go to the next one. We went this way or that way. We did that one in class. Here we go. The Windy City. A weekend in the Windy City. I think Chicago is synonymous with the Windy City, so we're not really hiding the name of the city in the headline or creating something that is inspirational. It's a beautiful image. I'm not sure of the aspect ratio for social media. If I was scrolling on my phone, this type would be really tiny. It would be super tiny and hard to read. And what is it you want to take here with me? Lollapalooza, if that's what you're saying, then let's talk about Lollapalooza in the headline. Let's sell what is happening, right? I like the way you've added the bean to Buckingham Fountain. That's nice. Way of relocating the stuff. I think it's amazing. Consider tinting the sky and this pinkish to match the rest of it. And I think it'll blend even more and make it even more of a delight when we find it. And I'm not sure that Lollapalooza has been harmonized because it feels super white, and there's nothing super white in the image, not even the overblown water that is literally overexposed. That's even got a yellowish colored tint to it. And I would think that the sky, the ground, it has a pinkish tint. Everything would be colored. So try harmonizing that. More importantly, let's talk about your headline. Is it about Lollapalooza? If it's about Lollapalooza, should we be showing musical acts or grand parks set up for Lollapalooza? Again, see it, say it, right? So what you're showing me isn't screaming Lollapalooza. It is screaming a beautiful, epic downtown with no people in it. Okay, maybe there's a person over here. On this one side over here. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe not. No, that's part of the sculpture. And that's kind of weird to show a city with no one in it, right? So maybe the thing that should have been photoshopped in here would have been a couple or young people, maybe a group of young people hanging out or something and walking. But right now, it's a beautiful cityscape. But I don't connect to it, and I'm certainly not connecting to Lollapalooza. So I think it's, while you have a beautiful image and some great Photoshop, I think that you're just missing the target. How about selling a romantic getaway in the jewel of the Midwest? You know, don't tell me it's Chicago right off the bat. The fact that not everyone is going to recognize the Buckingham Fountain. It'll take them a moment, I think, to recognize the Sears Tower and whatever this triangular building that is so iconic, the skyline there. So, if you're going to keep this image and as it is, I would suggest trying to humanize it a little bit to give me a reason to visit. And if it's about Lollapalooza, then maybe, you know, maybe it's some star giving themselves a selfie in front of this or something. I don't know. But it should be definitely related to music in some way. Because right now, those two ideas are distinctly not being related in this. They're not being coupled. They're not being linked in this image. So beautiful visual work. I think we're just off on the messaging. And hopefully you listened to the critique before this. But this type is getting hard to read because of its contrast, because of the thicks and thins. This font has a lot of thin elements that when you shrink them down, make a font difficult to read, especially when it's reversed out of a background. So keep it super simple. Book a trip to Lollapalooza. You're telling me to book a trip here. You're not giving me a place to book a trip at, right? I'm not seeing a call to action like a website address or a phone number. And I can actually book an actual trip. So those are considerations. All right. Finally, one more I think I saw up here that we haven't talked about. Barcelona. Okay, this is weird. I'm seeing a posterized Barcelona with, what is it in the sky? Is it a baseball player? Is it a soccer player? I see numbers. I think when I'm used to seeing soccer players, I think I'm used to seeing them with their number, maybe not like that. Maybe I don't know soccer. I always thought it was in a square or something, but I'm probably way off. Anyhow, I can't make out what these people are or why I should be, why they're there. Or are they the dead ghosts of the Barcelonans? I don't know. Your headline is the name of the city, and I specifically say don't do that. So please refer to the assignment for what I'm expecting for a headline. Your font choice is a beautiful font, but placement. A font like this that has transparent areas and a lot of thick and thin areas. Again, hopefully you watched the other critiques. Thick and thin areas are a font with a lot of thick and thin areas called a high contrast font. And it means that there's a lot of contrast between the thickest part and the thinnest part, right? There's a lot of difference. And this has that going for it, as well as being what we call an inline font, or a font that is has lines inside of it, right, carved out of it. And both of those hinder reading. And then you place it over a busy background. I might be able to work larger in the sky, but not with the word Barcelona, right? Because you're not supposed to, that's not the reason. This is a social media post. Give me a reason to stop. Give me a reason to stop. And I'm not sure why I have all this extra white. By now you should know how to trim this in your artboard. So unless you want to explain this to me, I think you should. Hopefully you were in class. I'm not even sure who I'm looking at here because it's a student too. But hopefully you were in class and heard those critiques, and if not, hopefully you've at least listened to these. But you should give me a reason to visit. What is it about Barcelona? Is it about the ghost athletes in the sky? I'm going to say the same thing about this image as I said about the previous image, and as I said about an image or two during critique, which is when you show a cityscape and you don't show any human element, real humans, there's not much to connect with. It's a bunch of buildings that are out there. It's not humanized, it's not interactive, you're not showing me the human condition. You're not showing me a neighborhood that I can relate to, right? And there's, you could fix that, you could change that by putting someone in a balcony right now looking at this vista. And I'm looking at the back of their heads, and that's great. When you see the back of someone, you can place yourself in their place. That's why a lot of times in images they don't show the person's face. But we don't have that human element at all here. And so I feel that this misses the mark. There's no call to action, right? I mean, all the pieces you stuck in here, this is barely meeting any kind of requirements for what the assignment was truly about. Anyhow, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I would be happy to, oh, and I know who this is right now because of my previous comment. And so I appreciate you revisiting it because we did see yours a critique. But again, listen to everything. You were here to critique, so you've heard it all. Anyhow, I believe that's all of them. No, we missed anybody. Nope, we've gotten them all. And if I did miss yours, it's because it wasn't uploaded before class, and let me know, and I'd be happy to give you a personal critique. Thanks.